Thank you for joining us, and here are some of the stories we're filing at this hour. I am Frank Komalape. And now the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission on Thursday disclosed that the 13.59 trillion naira 2021 budget was padded by the various ministries, departments and agencies with duplicated projects worth 300 billion naira. The chairman of the Anti-Graft Agency, Professor Bolaji Owasanaye, during an interface with the Senate Committee on Finance, also disclosed that project duplication worth 100 billion naira was also inserted into the 17.12 trillion naira 2022 budget by some MDAs, including 49.9 billion naira tracked as salaries for goods workers between January and June this year. Owasanaye explained that the 300 billion naira duplicated projects in the 2021 budget and 100 billion naira in the 2022 budget were tracked through scrutinization carried out on approved projects for the various MDAs. He also noted that the names of MDAs involved in project duplications were available and will be forwarded to the committee. Owasanaye advised relevant committees of the National Assembly to be on the lookout for such project duplication in a proposed 19.76 trillion naira 2023 budget. Away from there now, Nigerian banks' total asset increased to 65.48 trillion naira in June 2022, indicative of a 22.07% uptick compared to the 53.64 trillion naira seen in June 2021. This was disclosed by the Deputy Governor of Financial System Stability Directorate, Aisha Ahmed, in her statement at the last MPC meeting. She stated that the total deposit in the banks rose by 24.17% from 33.85 trillion naira as of the end of June 2021 to 42.03 trillion naira in the corresponding period of 2022. She also stated that bank loans have been on an increasing pace for the past 3 years. Gross credit has maintained an upward trajectory since 2019, rising by 5.02 trillion between June last year and June this year, with significant growth in credit to manufacturing, general commerce and oil and gas sectors. Ahmed added that this notable increase was achieved amidst a continued decline and the non-performing loans ratio from 5.3% in April this year to 5% in June 2022. And now the World Bank Group has warned the Central Bank of Nigeria and other central banks across the world about the possibility of a global economic recession following a simultaneous hike in interest rate. The CBN at the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting in July in Abuja raised the benchmark interest rate from 13.5% to 14%. In a report titled Risk of Global Recession in 2023, Rises Amid Simultaneous Rate Hikes, World Bank Group President David Malpass said that central banks' simultaneous hike of interest rates in response to inflation will push the world economies toward a global recession in 2023. The decision would also lead to a string of financial crises in emerging markets and developing economies that will do them lasting harm, according to a comprehensive new study by the World Bank. The study relies on insight from previous global recessions to analyze the recent evolution of economic activity and present scenarios for 2022 to 2024. The report said central banks around the world have been rising or raising interest rates this year with a degree of synchronicity not seen over the past 5 decades, a trend that is likely to continue well into next year. And now Nigeria's inflation rate has surged further to 20.52% in the month of August 2022 from 19.64% recorded in the previous month. This represents the highest rate since September 2005. The recently released Consumer Price Index report by the National Bureau of Statistics showed that Nigeria's CPI rose by 20.52% year-on-year in August 2022. A month-on-month basis, the index rose by 1.77% compared to 1.82% increase recorded the previous month. Also, the urban inflation rate stood at 20.95%, which was about 3.36% higher compared to the 17.53 or 59% recorded in August last year. The rural inflation rate in August was 20.12% on year-on-year basis. This was about 3.69% higher compared to 16.43% recorded last year August. The closely watched indicator, food inflation, rose to 23.12% in August, representing a 1.1% point increase compared to 22.02% recorded the previous month. On a month-on-month basis, the food inflation rate in July stood at 1.9%, which is about 0.03% or 0.07% lower than 2.04% recorded last month. According to the NBS, the rise in food inflation was caused by increases in prices of bread and cereals, food products, potatoes, yams, and other tubers, fish, meat, oil, and fat. Away from there now, imported food inflation in Nigeria rose to a 5-year high of 17.94% in August this year and has consistently increased for the past 3 months. This is according to an analysis from the National Bureau of Statistics. The NBS on Thursday, 15th September 2022, released Nigeria's Consumer Price Index report for the month of August of 2022, putting Nigeria's inflation rate at a near 17 high of 20.52%. A further breakdown of the report showed that the food inflation rate also quickened to its highest level in almost 17 years to stand at 23.12%, while coal inflation rose to 17.2% in the same month. An interesting component of the nation's index is the food index, which accounts for more than 50% of the basket of items tracked by the NBS. The Bureau of Statistics noted that the increase in the food index is a result of the uptick in the prices of bread, cereals, tubers, fish, meat, oil, and fat. Meanwhile, Nigeria's food import has been pulling or piling more pressure on the food index in recent times following the fallout of the Russia-Ukraine war. In the meantime, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the Office National the Hydrocarbons, the mine of Morocco, on Thursday signed the Memorandum of Understanding for the commencement of the construction of the 5,600 kilometers Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. NNPC Limited said the much-awaited Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project officially commenced following the signing of the MOU between the two countries and the Economic Community of West African States in Rabat, Morocco. It said the two countries and ECOWAS executed the MOU agreement on the project, which was a significant step in fulfilling the federal government's drive towards harnessing Nigeria's abundant gas resources. Once completed, it says the project will supply about 3 billion standard cubic feet of gas per day along the West African coast from Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia, Senegal, and Mauritania to Morocco. In his remarks at the MOU signing ceremony, Kyari described the development as a very important milestone in the NMPG or NMGP project, in which all the key stakeholders in the project had come together to reaffirm their commitment to deliver on the project.